Welcome back to Day 4 at Champions Tour. Second match on this beautiful Sunday. It's going to be EDG taking on FUT Esports. Of course, Golden Boy here once again, joined by Achilles as well as Mimi to break everything down. And I mean, before we jump into it though, I do want to do some quick reflection. G2, excellent job from them. Seth, I hope you're okay, buddy. You're reeling a little bit for a bit, but you got over it.
It's nothing I haven't been through before. And they always, they tell you that nonsense where like you'll never experience that same degree of pain again.
Yeah.
You know what? We've gotten past it, so I'm fine.
Yeah, that's right. You embrace the pain. You become one with the pain. Hey, but you know what though? An excellent matchup from G2. We'll of course see both of those teams later on in the competition. But for now though, let's focus our attention on the task at hand. Now these two teams are no strangers to the global stage and have had some incredible moments, but they've never really been able to get over that hump. 7th, 8th, 5th, 6th, but you know that the talent is there, Mimi.
Top 6 is the limit for both these teams. EDG has been to 6 global events, FUT to 4, and I think they're really paralleled in their story. Both a team that fully represents one country, EDG for China, and on the other side, FUT for Turkey, that have been the best from their respective regions at making deeper runs. But for EDG, after having their breakout year last year, I think this year has been a bit more disappointment. Going home early in that first round at Masters Shanghai in front of their home crowd was a heartbreak for the squad.
No, it really wasn't. I mean, it was a year of elation last year, as you're saying. This year has been a bit of a rockier road. And I'm curious to see how they look because there's additional pressures that are kind of getting stacked on EDG because they have seen success, more relative success from the likes of FPX on the international stage, but they themselves still remain at the top here regionally. But now we saw with that matchup from Trace, the bar continues to get set higher and higher for these Chinese squads and for EDG in particular.
Yeah, no, of course. It goes without saying that you have a team in this situation that they found themselves with a ton of success, and it's only natural that when you're top of the mountain for such a long time, things are going to start to fall apart a little bit. This is where we start to see the resiliency we've seen from teams like G2. Let's see that from teams like EDG.
And EDG, I mean, they did more than that. They made changes coming into this event for the first time in forever. EDG has always been this same core, but after their first game in Stage 2, they benched their IGL Haodong. He's now filling into somewhat of an assistant coach role, still helping out with this team. They also had coaching changes. After is gone, Muggle is up now as their head coach, and a new player, Simon, has been added to the mix. And I think from watching their games, really reinvigorated EDG. They're back to dominating in China, and while they're still playing a similar style, they're showing a lot of new comps and ideas, at least regionally, and Simon has been a big part of that.
Yeah, and I think we've seen that time and time again for a multitude of different rosters, and how long that stretch, how long that reinvigoration can last is a different question, but I mean, it's very much the likes of, something joining onto the side of PACIFIC and then being able to take over Pacific last year. Simon comes in, EDG maintaining their spot at the top over in China. How does this look, though, on that global stage is the big question.
I think he looks solid regionally. He's playing, he has a really wide initiator pool, and he does fill in pretty much one for Haodong's roles. But what he's not doing is IGLing. Nobody who has been on this team for ages, since basically the dawn of EDG, is now picking up that mantle, which I feel like is a little surprising because he was so often known as a player who was making some of the more crazy, wild plays, running around on Sky for this team. But he's really locked in, and I think evolved as a player to now take on that mantle from Haodong of the in-game leadership.
That's what you need to do when you want to compete at this level. The best of the world are here in Seoul, South Korea, so you need to take it to that next step. But let's go ahead and hear what Simon says as we have Mika Fab standing by with him.
Hi, Simon. Hello. Can we pull you for a quick question? Now, this is not only your first, hi, Kaka. This is not only your first Champions, but this is your first global event ever. So I'm wondering what's going through your head right now. How did you prepare for this day? We have Luna here to help with some translation.
那这不仅仅是你第一次的冠军赛，这更加是你的第一次世界赛嘛？那你现在脑海当中在想着些什么呢？以及是怎么准备今天的比赛的呢？
在想什么？就是有点紧张，然后也想着努力拿下吧。
And a little bit nervous, and we'll try our best to win today's matchup.
Well, I'm sure you guys are going to do great. Thank you very much for your time.
Okay, not what I was expecting. A little bit nervous, but you know what? I mean, maybe a little nerves might not be the worst thing in the world to have, right? You know, trying to spin that.
I think it's really expected, and I think that, frankly, it's better to just be honest about it rather than maybe trying to lie to yourself and say like, no, everything's going well, I'm gonna do fine, you know, the team's gonna do great, whatever. Sometimes just accepting that you have that nervousness is going to, you know, just help you be able to overcome it. The team knows what you're dealing with. They've been there in that position before, so he's got a good support group around him.
Should be leaning on them.
And I also don't think he's alone in those feelings. Nobody in an interview was talking about the fact that he, having to pick up the IGL mantle, was feeling anxious himself about it, was honestly feeling overwhelmed by the new responsibilities, the new role at times. Yeah. But I still think that the team has looked good. They looked comfortable when they were playing in their own region. They played a similar style, but the calling was solid. And I think that Simon, well, he wasn't a superstar. This isn't a player that we're going to expect to go out there and light the world on fire. He was really solid. And he's in a good team of very experienced players on this international scene. Remember, 6 times they've been to global events before who can make him feel comfortable on this stage.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, when you're nervous or you're not sure how to feel in those moments, you lean on the rest of your teammates there. And who better to lean on than a guy who loves living in that spotlight? It's Kong. And this is a guy who we have always known to step up in those clutch moments. He's had many incredible moments on the global stage, but this is certainly going to be a tough challenge for Kong. And for the rest of EDG, as we had alluded before, Seth, because they are kind of figuring it out right now. And Kong, well, he's still Kong, so.
He is still Kong, but we haven't gotten those highs from him this year compared to what we've been used to seeing in the past. You see how he's been comparing regionally against, up against CNET. The main thing that I want to see is just operators in both of these guys' hands.
I think that's the big thing about the matchup. Both these guys are some of the players who like upping the most in their respective regions. For both these teams on their defensive side, getting that star player set up. They'll both call a lot of the rotations around leaving their opera alone on the line, and both of them definitely have that experience taking over games. Kong before on the international stage, and CNED, one of the 4 players who has won a champions before. He's been a world champ. So big pressure for both these guys, I think, to show their best here at Champs 24.
Hey, well, you know, pressure makes diamonds, right? So we'll see what ends up happening with this. But ahead of Champs, we sat down with Kong to talk about his return to the global stage, who maybe hoists a trophy over his head. Let's go ahead and check it out.
Hey guys, we have a very special guest joining me today for a quick interview. We have Kong of EDG, and we have Luna to help with some translation. So nice to see you guys. Now, Kong, you've been at every global event since Champions 2022. How different is it being here at Champions 2024 from the first time that you've stepped onto that global stage?
会有一些感觉吧，就是以前可能会觉得一切都是很未知的，然后现在可能就是只需要准备好我们自己该做的那些东西，然后去尽力的去面对下一场比赛就行了。
I think there's a difference because previously we just felt that everything is unknown, but now you just have to prepare your own thing just to try your best.
Yeah, well, we know, of course, that we're going to expect the very best from EDG. But now the team looks a little bit different. You have Simon now in the roster. You have Muggle now as the head coach. And Haodong is now assistant coach. So with your top seed finish in VCT China, how would you say they impacted preparations going into this event and on that global stage?
我觉得就更专项一点，然后现在更做东西更基础，然后只是构建一下团队的道具跟协同吧，然后其他就可能风格有一些转变，然后跟之前训练的东西跟针对的东西不太一样了。
I think we have the things we have changed particularly. It's more about our basic, more about our synergy, our Kate, and our thing. The difference is the style because we have changed a little bit. So I feel like the things we're changing is in different style right now.
Well, we know that you and EDG, you have a massive fan base. We saw that in Master Shanghai. Why do you think the fans connect to you so much, Kong?
我觉得可能更多的是活力吧。我觉得我们一直以来就备受关注的一点就是我们充满活力，对，所以说怎么说呢？其实，然后再加上可能是舞台上或者赛场上我们的发挥，然后跟表现吧。
I think the first thing is about our energetic. I think this is one of the most important reason, and also plus on our performance on the stage or in the server. I think that's why.
I think it's also your epic poses, right? You who can forget that. We're eager to see more of it on that stage. So thank you so much for this interview and best of luck.
Thank you.
EDG burst onto the scene and really made a name for themselves right out of the gate. Kong obviously being at the tip of the spear when it comes to that. But, you know, I think, yeah, that energy, that excitement, that's what makes this EDG team so excited. And, yeah,
the classic pose was at Champs, wasn't it?
Love it, yeah.
I think it might have been Tokyo.
Was it?
No, I think it was LA.
I thought it was LA, too.
I'm sure it was Champs LA. I mean, he had so many different moments.
He's an icon.
It's really easy to kind of get confused and conflate them all together. Either way, yeah, for me, after last year, like Kong was that guy. He was the one I feel like everybody should have been looking at.
Yeah, for sure. But then on the other side, his counterpart there is going to be CNET and the rest of this FUT lineup here. This is a squad that, you know, again, another team similar to EDG who have not been able to break past that glass ceiling, and they're right there to be able to do so.
But the last event was their breakout. They finally beat one of their demons in Fnatic and made it into the top 6 at Masters Shanghai. It was their best appearance ever at a global event. And these guys have come back in, honestly, looking solid. They did end up losing to Fnatic again and went down in the EMEA playoffs, but I think they stuck to their guns. They're still a team with a lot of somewhat unique but really well executed ideas. When I think of them, I don't think of like crazy util set plays and combinations, but I just think of really solid teamwork, players swinging together, everyone in the right place, and just some fantastic Turkish aim from players like CNET and Yetije.
Yeah, you love to see it. Oh, well, look at that. I lost that pen. All right, well, let's go ahead and hear from a world champ, shall we? We got CNET standing by with Mika Fabs.
Hi, CNET. Good to have you back. The team is back for another Champions, and I feel like you guys are the team that everybody is sort of healthily wary of. So what do you think this roster, FUT, can bring to the table that you think will surprise everybody on that stage this year?
I mean, we are come to here to, I think, as underdog, so we can surprise everyone, I hope, and become champion.
Well, eager to see it. Good luck out there.
Both these teams, I think, are coming in with a bit of an underdog mentality, right? They've both had their breakouts before on the international stage, but both these squads, I think, approaching their opponent with respect, but with real potential to win this one.
Yeah, I mean, Kong, he's always been that guy getting out of his chair, getting in your face. We've been seeing that more and more from CNET, so now with these two clashing for the very first time, I'm curious to see who's going to be left standing at the end of this all and who's going to be sitting in their chairs.
Yeah, for sure. But you know, another player, though, that I'm really excited to check out is Yetuje, who also, another one, who came into the global stage and really shocked us all with his performance. And I think it's safe to say, like, this is a guy that you gotta be afraid of when you face off against him in that server.
He's such an important player for this team. He's almost always going to be locking in this cypher. And I think they have so many of their defensive ideas built around him about disguising the strong side of setting him up in a lot of positions where he's left alone on the site and has to do a ton, but his mechanics and his individual form is so good that he's almost always thriving in those situations. And on top of that, you just see the energy he exudes when he is playing well on stage. Him yelling, it'll echo through any arena.
Yeah, this guy is loud, and from the outset, just joining in the offseason, you could see that the impact was there already. FUT, you could see that this was going to be a very different team, that they were going to be able to reach new heights, and so far they've been able to do that, but how high can they go? We're about to find out.
Oh yeah, that's right. We got two teams here, never faced off against one another before, and I'm expecting a damn good match. So let's go ahead and send it over to the stage and bring out FUT and EDG.
FUT Esports. Edward Gaming.
My favorite thing about Valorant at the global level is you get to see matches that you never thought you'd be able to see. You're getting an all-Turkish team going up against an all-Chinese team, a truly international battle, and it is going to be fantastic.
Both these teams are the icons of their region for a reason, looking to break out here at Valorant Champions. As we look at the map detail, we're starting things off with, I think, a pretty good one for FUT. They've played a lot of their Lotus in EMEA. It seems like almost every EMEA team favoring that map quite a lot.
They quite like themselves some Lotus out there.
I think what is interesting, though, is that they don't play the standard Fnatic comp. They've been locking in instead a look with the Jet and the Breach. while they have shifted away from like only playing KO, CNET still only plays Jet and Raze for this team. They haven't picked up any of the new stuff with Neon, any of the Yoru ideas. They're very much a team that is committed to their read.
Yeah, whereas on the other side, we have actually seen, you know, kind of for some of the first times, Kong flexing over to some different roles, picking up some different things, such as that Gecko and whatnot. So curious to see if there's going to be any big changes in the overarching compositions from EDG, where they want to just really force Kong back onto those hard-hitting duels where he can have that monstrous carry potential, or if it is still going to be a bit more flexibility coming out of this superstar.
And even on those carry roles, he's playing new ones. This map, we're likely to see him lock in the Neon, something that we did not really see until stage 2 of VCT CN. They also play a unique comp. They have a Clove in the mix and an Omen as well, playing a double controller with no Viper, maybe taking somewhat of a leaf out of their CN brethren FPX's book, who favors a lot of those kind of like Omen, Clove, double smoker ideas.
Mr. Fallen out there bopping his head quite a bit. I got to know what the deal with the the octopus is, but there you go. The lock-in comes through here. You're getting Clove. You're getting Kong on that Neon. I'm excited to see him break some ankles out here potentially, but what we should be expecting with this compositions?
I mean, the big thing that I'm looking at is going to be Kong and that new player of Simon. That breach is there to help set up the Neon on these pushes alongside the relay bolt coming through. Get those dazes out, get those slides going, and get that pinpoint accuracy on display.
On EDG's attack, watch how they'll slowly kind of clear through space. When they go towards A, they're going to smoke close, take that space early with their stunts, and then kind of set it up into a 2-stage fight with the amount of smokes they have. Normally, when you're only playing Omen, you don't have that potential. This Clove adds an extra little bit, and you're combining that with the Neon too. There's a lot of cool ideas to show here, and FUT has never played against a comp like this.
Oh, I'm excited. All right, let's go ahead and jump into map 1, shall we? And send it over to your casters, who, by the way, are taking a break from getting rinsed on the Pacific servers. It's Brennan's
I've never played on the Pacific servers.
I've never been rinsed in my life on the Pacific servers.
Yeah, you
I'm
definitely
taking
have.
over. No,
You definitely
that's a lie, actually. Singapore servers after 6 p.m, demon time. don't play on those servers, I'm telling you now. We got FUT versus EDG here for our opening matchup, really, between these two teams. The first signs of life that we're going to see at them in champs so far, and there's a lot to talk about, a lot to discuss at the desk. It's already been bringing out, but we are jumping straight into the pistol round. I'm sure we'll have plenty of time to break down all sorts of narratives circulating around these teams. But the big one is that EDG are under a lot of pressure. They need to have a good, strong opening.
They absolutely do. Those Chinese fans can be brutal, and EDG have seen so many other squads from China have success recently. They want a taste of that themselves again. FUT was stacking up over towards C at the start of this pistol round, and it looks like they're playing A towards a bit of a retake setup. Both teams playing a breach, seeing Cracks hold the fault line.
Just in cases here, Simon's going to go for that plant. Full stick, nothing to push that away as well. Plant against the backside of the wall, holding the flash as well for backside fight, with Kang already in that spot and position.
EDG love to get aggressive on these Lotus post plants.
Let's see if they got anything clear in the one-way fault line. And the paranoia, right clicks, a bit of panic settling in. Chichu trying to cover it just over the shoulder as well. Kang still alive. It's off to the side here, making sure that he can hold this one back, but already getting overwhelmed and swarmed by the FUT players with that front side control. And they've taken out almost everybody. Smoggy, last one to be alive here, and Crack sticking at the fuse. No way! That's a lead by Smoggy, and what an opener that this EDG team needed.
Great play there towards the end. He got enough chip damage on the first try of going at things. Both of those players super weak. It made the frenzy very useful in that spot. Nice Red Bull clutch that Smoggy pulls out early on. Like you said, very needed. Other than that, their post-plant aggression didn't really work. It looked like FUT's coordination on the retake was working as well. EDG needed someone to come up huge.
Smoggy was the man for the job.
I'll tell you in general, FUT love contacting around places. It's not a high utility composition that they're running here. You don't have the raise, you don't have the fade, you just got a breach.
Yeah.
And they normally save that utility for like big retakes or big executes, depending on what side they're on. So there's going to be a lot of raw gunfights happening. And when you have that kind of clash between teams like this, form is crazy important. Whether the EDG and FUT players are feeling it today and can access their full potential. And in terms of the peaks that we've seen, players in this server have just put on absolute God mode tournaments occasionally.
We'll see if those individuals are firing off. EDG are making this one. It's quite cautious at the beginning into this eco round. Of course, they don't want to give away any lives unnecessarily. Cnid gets at least 2 chances there to potentially rip off some heads, but he's back at the site here, and with only the Sheriff in hand. Wouldn't be too much danger. Yeah, he's cleaned up, so EDG going for that plan at this point here. There's a bit of time as well. I mean, we've already kind of briefly mentioned how unorthodox these compositions are. These teams, you know, FUT and EDG, they have been playing it in their region. It's not like we've seen it for the first time.
No, but we haven't seen them clash against each other.
Yeah.
EDG's comp, in my opinion, is really attack-sided. Crazy attack-sided. And then when EDG go onto defense, they try to save up, get an operator into Kangkang's hand, and they're like, would you mind winning us a few rounds with the op? Because the actual compositional setups are not that great on the defense. So I'm expecting EDG here to run up the scoreline at least to a comfortable level for them. And if they don't, they might be in a bit of trouble.
EDG just going to be going down to the spike here. So another one followed up by EDG, putting that second round on the board.
I also think it's really remarkable that, I mean, maybe it's not remarkable because they've got G2 and PaperX in their group, but the community had both of these teams as like 25%ers, 3rd and 4th in the group. Only 25% of people thought that they were going to exit the group, basically.
Right.
For both of these teams. I think this group could be rife for upsets. PaperX is waiting. Whoever loses this, I don't think PaperX has an enormous edge over either of these two teams, but neither of them are going to want to be in that position.
Yeah, looking to grab a win nice and early in their group here. Bonus round for EDG. There's definitely a lot of danger towards it. Big stack and group up by the FUT players. A fault line and a paranoia gives them access to that A-Robble control. Might be looking to cement it, but already you're seeing a fast pivot and EDG just trying to play off of that. A lot of util being used. EDG barely alive, but a stun still applying, and he's able to trade out these kills. Kill trip played off of this guy is electric right now. EDG, anchoring player, stalwart defender. And EDG now going to be licking their wounds, I think, looking for options and ways back into this round.
Already I can tell that FUT have been watching the VODs. That aftershock comes out from Simon every time, and EDG made sure his trips did not get broken by it. That was massive.
Now FUT just hold, waiting for it. Signs of life contact, the head's just peeking up and over. Ripped clean off.
Such a clean round, and so important for FUT to showcase early on in this defense half that they can hold on to a site when there's only one player and, you know, a flood coming through. It was just EDG there. Ada Captain comes to try to reinforce. To be honest, Kangkang should probably be favored in that kind of situation, but if EDG's hitting, I guess the stun is cosmetic. But yeah, pay attention to where these trips are, because Simon's aftershock is supposed to break those trips. And EDG is putting them down in spots that'll avoid that.
And now Robinson into the skirmish, both of these teams, but nobody considering that Chichu could have already got past that line with the TP with CNED removed. Robble control going to be made that much more easier here for EDG.
I think it's going to be a mistake for FUT to opt into these Robble fights. EDG's composition is much better in those spots.
Yeah. Like we were already talking about, I mean, the utility that FUT have to work with, it's pretty low. In terms of if you're trying to go, you know, pound for pound against this composition that EDG have, you know, the double initiator, the duelist. Neon stuns are just brutal for trying to find that one early. And a contact reclear is called here by FUT. Had a captain just holding to one line. EDG.
He's got a good idea.
Very good idea. Just sees the jiggle as well, but already gives it up, doesn't he? Spoiler. And already stands up, gliding forwards. Kangkang can't follow up. Out from mounds and ducking, weaving, dodging EDG only with the 2 before the trade comes through. Still, 2 left to stand here for FUT, and that does give them chances and opportunities, but they want to make their way back over towards A now. EDG. Chichu didn't give up that position earlier, so just holding on to that A control for most of the round gives them that option.
It's a nice call. Coming back over to Chichu, who is inserted there. Mr. Fallen might have an opportunity. Shut down.
Yeah, crosshair placement just wasn't quite there, already adjusting.
And that should secure the round up. We'll have to be keeping an eye on these kind of mid-round calls that are going on for EDG. I feel like a lot of the time things are extremely hectic in the EDG camp, especially since they've decided to bench Haodong, put him into the 6th man assistant coach kind of vibe, and bring nobody in to make a lot of the calls for them.
Prax is trying to make a go at this. I don't really understand the logic behind it.
Probably needs his weapon.
Yeah, he really does. He's got no money to buy another one. The rest of his team does, so he's going to get out of there. Not going to get punished for the huge risk of trying to make that attempt. But you're right, you know, EDG, there's been even comments from themselves. You know, I was talking about Yinsu ahead of this match as well, just trying to get that extra information heading into it about EDG. But, you know, even Kangkang was talking about how they get chaotic in the mid-round sometimes. They lose track of, you know, what decisions they should be making.
Frankly,
gets a little bit messy.
That doesn't surprise me whatsoever when you put a player who's known for his unorthodox plays and strange read on the game and feast or famine play style, and you put him into an IGL position. But it feels like Edward Gaming are just trying to figure out what their mentality is, what their ethos is, their style of play. All right. CNED's going to pick up an operator. Go to look for an early pick out here towards C. Got to imagine there's util to push it back.
Yeah, I mean, they have boatloads of it, but okay. Unscoped as well. That is so damn dangerous near-sighted just by the Prowler. Was not broken up by EDG. It gives it full sight over towards the C-mound angle. Door's going to be not even opened here, not even contested, at least with that Nightfall. Scatters its way across. There's no follow-up, though, with the wall in their face and the Haunt. And the Paranoia, plenty more where that came from. EDG garner and gain that access into the C site, but the question is, are they going to come out unscathed? Need to get this plant down. Plenty of shots and opportunities handed to CNED, but he's not quite grasping any of them. Damage done to Smoggy. Not quite the kill he was looking for, though. Still has the Blade Storm, so the retake potential is there.
That was a hit.
He's definitely making a decent go of it. Teams grouped up now. 5 versus 5 onto the retake. Backside control. Aim to be held. Kang. It's an off angle. Just down onto the ramp as well, but he needs to land it. Shot down with the rest of his team. It's Led just firing through and follows through with the kills. Beautiful work by EDG.
Very nicely done there. EDG, when I was watching them in China on this map, they loved fighting aggressively in the post plant for waterfall control. This time, they planted, but they all stayed on site. They didn't push for an extra piece of map control, but they also didn't back off over to mound, which means it's massively important that you stand your ground, hold crossfires with each other, and hit these important shots. That's a really crucial one to take down CNED, who had knives online. This is putting EDG well ahead now.
Right there.
Yeah, ults are starting to get generated already. See the Rolling Thunder. Simon holding on to it. And Captain's the only one to hold back this A approach. It's a weaker buy by FUT.
Yeah, the attack side operator is now coming out as well. Kangkang picking that up. They tend to play a lot slower when Kangkang is AWPing.
FUT just trying to abuse the fact that there's no Sentinel on the side of EDG, but Smoggy will happily fulfill that role. Even just with the raw aim and gunfire. I mean, listen, there's always danger. The sheriffs are in the hands of these FUT players. They're demons with it, but it's all cleaned up. Safe pair of hands of Smoggy.
It's pretty nice for the next round. You now have Breach Ult, Clovault online. Smoggy can go really deep off the back of it.
The last two players as well. Caught off into the corner.
What?
Whoa, cracks! He's given it the lifeline and a chance and opportunity that it's just opened Pride. Wide open, 5 health though to his name. It's a 1v1, isolated down in the blink of an eye. Expecting already the cross-up from Smoggy, the pre-fire, no. But my God, did it get dangerous.
There's just a taster of what this match might end up devolving into.
Listen, man, I said it could get dangerous and they got the sheriffs in their hands.
It's absolutely bonkers what these players are able to do with light weaponry. I mean, the first shot is labored, but onto nobody and onto Simon.
God
and
almighty.
It's so clean. If Adacaptain hadn't let face first into the aftershock there, they actually could have had a 2v1. Maybe secured the round.
All smiles on the face of Kangkang though. He's taking it in his stride. No worries, guys.
FUT are going to take attack timeout here. This side is going to be very difficult for them. I really do believe that EDG's composition is massively attack-sided. And when they have ults online like Clovault, Breach Ult, it's just going to be so difficult to hold them back. I think FUT should be aiming to put a little bit of pressure early and then fight a kind of rolling retreat as they back up and then play retake onto the sites with their own breach ult. It's really important, though, that you contest EDG early on, because you want to drain them out of utility, you want to make them use the breach ult, you don't want to give away that you're just playing full retake setups. Otherwise, they're just going to walk in, and then they have all the ults for post-plan.
Yeah.
So, I would like to see, we can see that CNED is picking up the operator. I'd like to see CNED try and take an aggressive angle, you know, maybe over towards C, maybe even fighting from the kind of A site kind of area, but something that forces out that breach ult so that then his team can play retake. It's just so important that he at least creates pressure and then gets out alive.
And that's the difficulty, I think, for FUT as well. Their competition is... It's hard to walk that tightrope of not over-investing into some of these fights. Seen it again. Operator already being just accosted off onto the corner. Stun already connecting. Seen it just trying to get the hell out of there. Nice. EDG. He does cover it. Like you were mentioning, Josh, as well, that rolling retreat, they're just backing away now. The rolling thunder of itself cracks. He lets it loose, lets it rip now. Everybody pushed up back into the corner, but cosmetic stuns is the nature of this game sometimes. Smoggy not dead yet. Back into the fight, but falling from the side, instantly traded once more. The pause, scattering, running away. EDG, they want to try and make their mark. Moves over towards the A side. CNED, he's fast onto it, but players up into his face as well. Up and down the ropes, they're making this one dangerous and awkward. CNED's lucky to be alive.
Spike planted.
Bit of calm for once in the middle of the round. FUT sure to play this one together. Holding just in case. Flank possibilities, but a contact peek, doubled up, not quite ready for it. Seen it again, missing the shot. This is many opportunities now that he has missed. 2v3, EDG, smoke in their face. Chichu could cross this one up as well. And for FUT, the pressure's on them to try and push past this one without a captain low. Haunt not seeing too much, jumping peek, swing is there. EDG finally, but Chichu contains 1v1 and a tap. Issue has forced Chichu though, ice cold, backs away, knowing EDG is not playing towards this one, and there's a 1 round out. Beautiful work once more, 4-piece to finish and wrap it up.
Immaculately played clutch there by Jishu. He really had all of the info, knew exactly that EDG was just going to be tapping on that first one. There were so many missed opportunities there, though, from both teams. I'm talking about the form of the players and seeing which team's sharp. There were so many spots in that where there was missed opportunities. CNED probably should have died way earlier on if we're going to look at who had more chances to kill each other. But EDG continue this spiral up and onwards. Can't be stopped.
No. It's relentless. Nothing to break the Haunt either, so again, peace of mind granted to EDG. They're giving up that front section of A.
Once more, it looks like a bait and switch setup where CNED's designed to take contact, dash back out, and then play in at a captain and EDG. Very similar to what he did on B. This time, Kangkang's not even in the right area of the map to take that carrot on a stick. Poison carrot on a stick, I suppose it would be at that point.
Smoggy's task was just holding down the flank here. Following and cracks, not too much in terms of the weaponry that they're holding on to. Trick broken. Prowler out too, just trying to bait out the potential of that trap play. Gliding and sliding, Kangkang. Listen, he's not going to take no for an answer. He wants this sight and he wants it now.
Brilliant way of using the Neon movement there against the eco round. It's so difficult to hit Sheriff shots when the Neon's running at your face.
Oh, yeah.
And then wiggling around on the floor.
Smoggy just catching that contact on the players as well. It's a little bit disjointed here from the FUT attempt. It's not going to be able to get this one over the line here. For now, EDG are in full control, 7-1, and now's a great time to bring up, you know, talking about the pressure that they had. I think coming off the back of that Shanghai performance, obviously the expectation is going to be much heavier, I think, when it's in their home region playing that tournament a few weeks back.
But they bombed.
They did bomb out.
I mean, yeah, they didn't even have one of their, ooh, they look good, but then they don't make it.
Yeah, it was completely flat.
It was extremely flat, and the Chinese fans wanted more, demanded more, and made their voices very heard. And so you got to expect that was one of the reasons why EDG ended up making changes. CNED tries to get value again.
And this time will succeed. Pluck Smoggy out of the picture nice and easy.
And a wallbang through onto Simon there as well. Yeah. Look at the health, 15.
Unfortunate not to get a collat. That is exactly what FUT were looking for, honestly. The first kills have not really been going their way. Prowler again in the face, with the op shot fired off. They now know exactly where CNED is. Kang support up, chewed up. At least by the trap, Farlin in a bit of danger. The paranoia is good though with that connection after Stroke. He's going to be dodged. He needs some help from the rest of his team, and the overdrive is just swatted away. Kang does not stand a chance, but Simon quick on the next approach. Will trade it, slowing it down. Patience has to be played now because it's still a 2 versus 4 for EDG. Risks might need to be taken for any chance of them winning this. Pre-fires onto the corner, 2 players into the pit, just holding it. Chichu trying to take that. What is that? Adjustment, flick to the side. EDG barely puts him to rest. Simon, 15 health left, tagged up by the cam. Not long for this world, and so FUT finally going to be able to get another one on the board up to that second round.
And that's a massively important one for FUT. They're very, very good on Lotus, so don't get too worried about them just yet. But if they end up going down 8-1 and their economy's broken, doesn't matter how attack-sided EDG's comp is, at that point, you've set yourself up for a very, very rough ending to Lotus. So that's important, stabilizes the economy, gets them into a decent spot, and they know that CNED can find those opportunities with the op. It's just about putting him in the right place, trying to figure out where EDG might go next. And EDG are headed towards A on that classic rubble kind of fight again.
At this point, pretty much being handed over for free. CNED again, gonna make another go of things, isn't he? Where he found success last time, just peeking through B main.
May catch nobody.
Jump spot. Does he hear this? Pre-aims? Nobody though. Already crossed up onto the spot, barely a shoulder, but this time CNED is starting to hit. On fire with it.
That's so sharp. At some point, you got to imagine Kang is gonna feel like he wants to go for the ego battle. It might be too late in this half, but certainly on defense.
Back towards the rubble with the TP here. There's other players though. Does he get that confirmation, Mr. Farlin? Not liking what he saw. Smoggy on the meanwhile. He's making sure to take this one slow and steady. Has got them a lot of control up towards C. Door opens up. EDG making the call here for the mid-round pivot. 40 seconds left. Stunned up. Mr. Farlin has to let loose of it, but with Smoggy spotted, he might have just given the game away with only 36 seconds left. Had a captain. He's going to reinforce this sight up. Still has a snake bite in his back pocket. Smokes are up as well. Orb up to respond. Fault line though. There's no molly at the feet, so EDG are going to be able to get into this one essentially for free. It's all about whether or not you can get this plant down still. Simon, not just a tap, a full stick, doesn't want to try and bait out any of that util, and there's nothing used as a response. No spam on the side of FUT.
No spam, I think, because they're worried about EDG pushing Waterfall. Like I said, they do that all the time in China.
Smokes placed, propped up. Kang. This one going to be dissipating though, doesn't need to be worried about it. Retaking with the op, never quite ideal. Kang. First casualty, Chicho's there, right through the wall. EDG is frying, farming, Cloudburst to try and get them into the site. And the last player left is Simon, overwhelmed. Too many targets to really overcome.
And suddenly, a map where EDG were fully in control, and now FUT making a decent little comeback. Those 2 rounds, they might not look like much, but with how EDG's composition is so reliant on getting their economy flourishing and getting an op into Kang's hand on the defense side, any kind of damage done here is going to add up. These last 2 rounds, crucially important. They make all the difference between a 7-5 half or a 9-3. And that's either a close half or a blowout.
Yeah.
Now, EDG's been feasting. He's got 12 kills currently. Anytime they've hit the C site, he's been good for it. Hitting shots while stunned on Kang to open up the map twice, and still then continuing to find success elsewhere.
He's doing it all right now. As you mentioned, the anchoring's good when he's handed the chance to do so, but it's really the trading, I think, that's been most impressive. He's always following up off of, CNED taking that first point of contact, maybe dashing over the op, which you saw in that prior round. Very consistent.
I'm interested how FUT are going to disrupt the ults that are about to come online here. Quick peek for those of you at home. Nobody and Simon 1 away from Nightfall and Rolling Thunder, respectively. So they're probably, EDG, going to be looking to try to play for one of these ult ops, right? So how do you deny them? FUT can't really win a rubble fight, so that's probably where EDG are going. And you can see here that FUT making the read to stack over towards A because they expect, I would believe, EDG to be looking for this ult orb over here.
It'll be a hard task trying to win it.
Enormous hard read.
Yeah, skirmish will be occurring. The question is who will be the winner. Now, last time Chichu TP'd back Rubble and it did put the punish onto CNED. We'll see if that happens again, or FUT has something to counteract it. Paranoia looks like it's pre-aimed just for the middle uncenter piece of the choke point. Fault line slows them down. TP through the back again, up and around with the updraft. CNED barely alive here, still blinded up. Inside the cloudburst, wants to play inside of it. Chichu running and gunning. Reign Supreme wins out the day. Cracks, you are hard committed into this spot, son, and there is really no escape. And the captain will help him out. Shot from the side and a follow-up again. He can't be denied. FUT just absolutely smashed them into dust.
Can we have a look at the stage? Did CNED just jump into Krax's chair for a moment there?
What happened there?
Possess his body, take him over. What are those two up shots? Coming out from a player that I've only ever seen with a rifle in hand. That's nasty. Krax was completely stuck. The door had not been pre-fired, so he was trying to use a classic to get through it. He's like, please, let me escape. Get me through the B. And he decided to turn, stand, and fight. But now EDG have those ults online. Yep. Now in the final round of the half, they've got massive tools to work with.
We've seen again the same fight taken. Valendo, oh my goodness, revealed up by the Horde as well. He needs to get the hell out of their door in his face. TP through into the smoke and the bullets just won't connect into the end. EDG not to be denied that space, and they have a lot of ults to make usage of. Nightfall, primed and ready, finally let loose. Fallen drops the smoke. CNED anti-synergy almost, but the Blade Storm, now the stuns connecting up. This is chaos and anarchy occurring. Updraft will not save you. Kang hunting them all down. Finally put a stop to all of it. Rolling Thunder does not deny the plan. Might be able to get at least put back into it. Nobody tucked to the corner, tight and close, and they still can't remove him. With the upgrade occurred finally. A trade online. Yet a Jado. No threat will reveal everybody's position into the 3v2, and with the fight isolated, now the 2v2. In through tree, Smoggy out wide, and what an adjustment it is. Couldn't quite catch that final kill. It looks like he just whipped that rifle all the way around for the 8-4 finish.
Didn't even need his ultimate to close that one out. And it would have been a checkmate situation towards the end, I think. So it's a good half from EDG, a very good half. 8-4 on FUT's map pick, but their comp is attack sided. Who knows where this is going?
Oh, come on. Trade in any phone in any condition guaranteed and get $800 off the new Galaxy Z Fold 6. Only on Verizon.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Just what I could know what I meant. I feel you distance. I feel cold, but I don't know why. With love some context. Gave my heart, you said goodbye.
Well, Edward is definitely gaming at this point. I mean, 8-4, like we said, you got to come out the gates swinging at this event just because of all the expectations that were laid onto the shoulders of all of these young players. But they are turning up to the challenge here against FUT. Still, there's all these, question marks, I think, when you see two compositions clash on a map where, normally the meta is set in stone. And these are two different, very, I guess, identities that these teams are trying to go for on this map.
Absolutely, and EDG's composition, it does struggle on the defense because they can't occupy 3 sites at once. They don't have the Sentinel, they don't have the Viper. Now, in China, they left the C site very, very weak. I think now you're seeing them leave the A site weak on the pistol to avoid that anti-stratting that FUT would have done. Do FUT care? Are FUT going for the C site? No, not at all.
That's all 5 players grouped up.
But I think EDG are going to end up on attack here.
Flipping the map. EDG. This guy is about to be receiving either a world of hurt. It might just win the round for them single-handedly. He's the one who's got to try and lock this one down already. Early fight taken and almost lost out. Kang drops him down to at least 11. And a slight tuck into the corner. No way.
He dodges
the bullets. This guy is a fox in the pen, but he is going to be spotted and finally rooted out. So there's our first kill advantage. EDG, maybe something to work with. Door again, opened wide. Molly's a little bit delayed and laid out here. EDG are winning this one with a massive player advantage. Mr. Fallen and Seen to do the most here, leaving it just down to Fallen. And now overwhelmed at the back. Knives are out and swinging. We are getting scrappy.
That's a major pistol round for EDG to be able to get. They played it really nicely, but there were so many spots there where a FUT player could have had impact. EDG tucked into the corner, couldn't do anything. Great shutdown from Kang. And then also Adacaptain, another spot where Kang probably should have died. He's vulnerable, swinging through, but Adacaptain can't get his weapon out in time. FUT letting that one slip a little, a fumble that they can't afford with only 4 rounds in the bag. EDG, this is perfect for them. Again, their defense strategy revolves around getting an op into Kang's hands. Winning the pistol, you're loving that.
Yeah,
you're going to be able to get your economy flourishing.
But we'll make a go of things here. Slow spread default into the Rico. Maybe just aiming to hopefully farm up some orbs. That's the trouble with their own composition as well. You can't even rely too much on the ultimates they've got available. Chichu, Paranoia, flies forwards. Couple of shots fired out as well. He's going to be blind himself. He needs some help and backup. Has arrived in the form of Kang, but he's swiftly dealt with. That was the rifle. Dropped down. Chichu, though, still a problem. And Smoggy having to deliver the death blow from the side. EDG Classic in hand. There's enough to dismiss them, even just repping loud in the process, I guess, because they couldn't make it themselves.
Weapons down over towards Rubble. If he had the spike, this would be a great situation to threaten that he was heading off elsewhere and go and try to pick one of those up. But like you said, where is he going? But where can he go? He has to be predictable here and go over towards A. He's just trying to orb max.
Yeah, of course, that really important neural theft.
Hey, listen, on the attack side, it actually can win you some really important rounds, especially when you're playing against a no Sentinel comp. He gets that down, he's going to figure out where the gaps are.
Alert timings here, but nobody's going to keep watching, just for the smoke peek.
I think the question more so than what is the neural theft going to do is, what is a round going to do at this point for FUT? There's 6 behind now. Not only do they need this one, they need to then break the economy of EDG and start a spiral of their own. And FUT's comp, while they've had quite a lot of success with it, and it's been good for them, it's not an alt snowball comp. It's not like you have the lockdown and the showstopper and the nightfall to be able to work with. So this one's still going to be scrappy, still going to be difficult for FUT, even if they get on a roll.
Early push back there on the EDG. Standard attack side here for FUT, but you're right. Rifles in the hands. This is where you really need to get going if you are FUT. You are being pressured like hell. EDG needs some support, needs some help. The squeeze is occurring, but heads to the side. Nobody really watching for him. Smoggy at least will get that trade.
Felt like EDG was calling for help. Adacaptain came back and got counter-called, and FUT went into C instead. EDG strung out to dry, but takes one down. EDG like these kind of setups. It doesn't matter if they're playing full retake every time, as if they have the entirety of the map control.
Time for mount control, Adacaptain. Needs to spot this one out. They realize they flipped the mount.
Mound?
Yeah.
You can't plan for mound when they're coming mound.
They already have control of it, but we're kind of being caught. It's a little bit easier now. Only one real direction to pay attention to. Smoke in their faces. Util's going to be exchanged. Aftershock in through the choke as well, and rifles reloaded. EDG just primed and ready. Without a kill. Finding it lacking that initiating power, I think, to even get themselves in. Already time ticking away from them with the spike and with the position it's placed in as well. There is no more chances to win this one out. They're looking to do that economical damage, if possible.
Chichu did force into this round, so the fact that he keeps that rifle is going to be important for EDG. They can keep rifles up for round 16. At the moment, what we're seeing is EDG leave one site completely open and pushing heavily the other two. Trying to condition this idea that they are always going to be pushing, even on the defense side. But FUT are finding the right reactions here, which is to go into the free area and play a post-plant setup where you have space somewhere else.
As long as EDG just make it incredibly obvious with what they're trying to push and fight over, FUT's decision-making is going to get that much more easier here. Kankang, though, push his way up. Fault line does catch. Off onto Mound. He needs a little bit of help here. He's quite hard committed. They heard a TP. They think it's in the one-way, but Farland's already crossed up.
FUT at this point can tell it's not the same as the previous rounds. Fowler's coming out A.
A peak caught here by nobody. Side by side with Simon. Aftershocks there. Takes a good timing with it right as the wall was going down, so FUT actually don't get any of that space, but on the opposite side of the map, that's Smoggy gone taken out.
I mean, that's through a smoke, surely.
Not too sure, but a decision's now made here. Down to that 50-second mark. Chichu cuts it up onto the corner. Neurofeft, if they wait this one out, they will spot him. Paranoia is going to be forced as a result. Chichu, knowing he can't play there, repositions, backs away. EDG is split up though. They can't hard anchor onto this side, and with that util saved into the back pocket, Rainy Day, it's called for. FUT starting to barrel their way through and over onto the seaside, but they made it quite obvious at this point. 30 seconds now. EDG getting some bodies into the fray, into the fight, but it's still that 3v5, and Krax is not pushed back from that plant. Sows into it, flash to at least get Chichu and playing inside. Cam up into his face, can land and adjust the shot in time. Seen there dropping him. Full control towards the back of the site. Need a miracle from EDG, you need mistakes from FUT. Stun into the back, there's no swing attempt off of the back of this here. Almost lining up for some sort of potential from nobody there, but FUT once more gonna walk away with another round and starting to string them together at this point. That's 6 on the board.
And you're seeing the weaknesses of EDG's composition on the defense side. There were 2 players there ready to anchor the site, but they can't really do too much. Chishu's already used his paranoia to try to get out of the really uncomfortable spot he's in, and that neural theft that you were poo-pooing earlier on came through fairly handy, didn't it?
It did help, yeah.
It also gave them an amazing paranoia that knew where both players were and blinded both of them too. FUT are back into this game.
Cage trigger. Interesting. That is real interesting.
Disguising where you put the cam so that it survives for a little longer.
Yeah, it's a real interesting way to take that C mount control. Early fight there, taken. Kankang, I believe, had the Marshal in hand. Just to see if he could potentially get that first kill advantage on their own half. By EDG have stacked this one with quite a lot of players. CNED is aware of the possibility, and even just pre-firing into tree. Won't catch this guy sleeping, not right now. Yeah, he is popping off after a relatively slow beginning. Smoggy going for the peak.
Don't use that ult.
Yeah, do not use that one. Save that one for another round here. This is a close and shut case here for FUT.
If we want to talk about the ults just for a second, while Smoggy has his as well, it's going to be very difficult for Smoggy to find good opportunities to use that. If he gets picked in a spot like this, even if it's rifles online 5v5, he can't sprint at FUT out through Mount. So he's kind of got to save it for retake scenarios.
Yeah.
And what we saw from him on the attack side is, often, if things are going well enough that you would want to use the ult, then you didn't need to use the ult. Kankang finally gets op in hand. The economy damage that FUT did early on, and the fact that they've been winning these rifle rounds, has stopped Kankang from getting that weapon that he's known for. He is a sniper at his heart. He's picking it up and playing over towards A.
The amount of targets that are going to be afforded to him, few and far between. It's only EDG, and he's not really going to be choosing to opt into that fight as well. The Haunt and the stun will push him away. Smoggy willing to disrespect control over towards C Mound. TP across again. Cloudburst and a flash over the top. This is a beautiful takeaway. You need to kill Smoggy in this spot. He's getting away with murder right now. Only 4 bullets left, but will he opt into using the ult to get back into the fight? Doesn't look likely.
CNED's got 2 health. What a whiff from him after he's been playing so well this map.
Yeah, real scrappy.
Oh, they know he's
there. Nice cue, given away by the cage, and Simon gives up his life. This is all over the place at this point here, but FUT are still in that driving seat despite the damage done. Seen it, another captain.
EDG need a huge play from somebody now.
And Kang, 1 kill offered up. Question is it even enough? Farland, plant, stuck and committed. Extension now into the round, into the post plant. Paranoia is set up, Prowler as well. That gets the confirmation and acknowledgement, but a shot missed. Overdrive round to the side in the corner. No one to play off of it. In for the back of the side, lining them all up. Kang with 3. Nightfall is beautiful. Cracks. Last one left, and he is gone.
They needed a miracle, and Kang delivered. Of course it was him. The op shot on the entry, the pop of the overdrive, following up off the back of his initiator utility, and dodging that breach ult. EDG got completely stuck there. Not a great post plant setup either from FUT, trying to play very heavy on-site against that Nightfall. Difficult to make that work. But there you go, as soon as you get the op into Kang's hand, suddenly the defense looks like it works.
It's value earned. EDG stem the bleeding for just a little bit here, and they still, of course, hold the advantage in terms of rounds. This time, adjusting and moving up that positioning. Kang hopping over towards C, wants to play in front of the Viper Orb.
And the cage did not defend the cam this time. It was broken. FUT are also jump peeking this at the start every time. They do that jump peek from on top of the boxes where you can just get your head over the top and see if there's an Opper playing C.
In the
decided
meantime,
to go A.
Yeah, full control over towards A, but the question is, can they clear Chichu? Cloudburst, it's an intelligent way to try and get your way and slip past into the side as well. Chichu still set up, still lands 2! My goodness, he was under a tremendous amount of pressure. For EDG now, that lifeline is delivered, and this could be that 12th round that they were looking for. TP, evacuation, back and away, pit into the post, and Smoggy's fast, rapid into it, ult, not dead yet, he's back into the fray, back into the fight, pressing forwards, that is absurd. Sees though, connects onto the feet, another captain rooted to the side, needs that bailout fun, spraying and praying. Kang left alone now, in a 1v2, just the operator in his hands, you might have to call this one quits.
If he goes for it, he won't be able to buy an op again. EDG are at 11. They're already in the lead. You don't need to take risks like this and potentially lose a weapon that's so important for making your defense function. So as heartbreaking as it is, he's got to just let this one slip away. EDG is creeping.
He's hunting it out.
He's hearing.
Yeah, but the question is, will they be able to catch him? This guy is going to be lightning fast, getting all the way away from them here in the sound cues. Got to keep the op.
That is absolutely maniacal from Smoggy and nobody. The lack of coordination on that play is baffling for a team that has otherwise been playing fairly well today.
Yeah, I mean, this here.
This push forwards, nobody's supposed to trade this, right? And
yeah,
instead, nobody backs up and throws a seize. I mean, get on the same page, please, if you're going to be making a play like that. They're chuckling about it now, but this gap is lowered to 3, and they're on an eco.
A little bit of bite towards the round, at least the Guardian, the rifle, the op, but as you said, Josh, the gap is narrowing. Odin spam away from Fallen just to cover the retreat. CNED dash expended nice and early.
I think the reason that this composition works for EDG, though, is that they have good enough players. Someone gets them around. And in a situation like this, the economy doesn't look good, but FUT are going to be cautious, they're going to be slow, and EDG are going to be taking risks. You will often see Thrifties converted in high-pressure moments like this.
EDG already trying to set themselves up to succeed. Looks like they wanted to commit to a push deep out here. Up onto the site, this is full committal occurring. Nobody right into the back of the site. Classic in hand, and Chichu. This position right here could do some damage and potentially cause some harm, but really no worse for the wear here from the FUT players. They do survive and get that plant down for them.
Planted.
With a difficult task ahead. And a question of what they really want to commit into this one. With Simon's ult in the back pocket, do you save this one still with the gap closing? Swap around with the weaponry. Rifle now into the hands of Kang. Smoggy holds the approach. Perched up, gliding forwards, an attempt to play off of that util, but now the counter spam.
How do you get the op out?
And the counter play, how do you get the op out? It's hard committed, deep into the pit. Simon, where's this flash landing, man? Flicks it up to the side as well. Time is ticking away from it. Will collect at least the 1 kill, but a peak of the util is perfection. And right from behind with the wrap around, the op will not survive another day. Up to 9 now for FUT. The gap now just 2 rounds away from equalizing.
That's the risk of taking a weapon like that, heavily committed into an eco situation. You're unlikely to win. One player's coming in there without a weapon in hand. You don't want to use your big ultimate on Simon because you want to save that for the future. The same logic should apply to the op. So all right, they don't have that to work with. Can they make the ult work for them? The gap closes to 2. C completely open. I mean, look at this. The defensive side has holes in it every single round.
Insanely as well, this hard read. I don't know if it is a hard read, but FUT just already making a move over towards the C side. EDG wants nothing to do with the A contestation. He can feel the pincer. They tried that move on him before. He's not going to fall prey for it this time. He survives and tries to play for his life.
So last time, they also planted towards Mound, didn't take any spawn or waterfall control.
Doing it again. This time trying to play for Mounty here. So many footsteps, EDG, you absolute madman. Paranoid up though, blinded, he needs some help, and bailout will be afforded and wrist played. Now as the squeeze is coming in, Rolling Thunder at least to relieve that pressure. Smokey is ridiculous. Can't quite squeeze himself right through the doors. It just closes shut between him and the site. It's going to be flipped around once more. FUT though, only 2 of their players surviving. One Way's blooming and blossoming. FUT are scrambling now. Players rummaging and rumbling towards the site. This is just absolutely absurd for Fallen to deal with. Damage done. Dodging and weaving. Phantom in hand. CNED last one left, but not for much longer.
I don't understand how FUT can have seen that exact idea come out from EDG before, recognize it in the first 10 seconds of the round, and decide to fight Mound control.
It's perplexing.
That's bonkers to me.
Yeah.
The door's going to get opened. You're going to get pushed from the back. Why not reactively yourself push forwards and plant for spawn? Go and take spawn control. Go and take waterfall. Plant for those positions that you can fight over. And instead, FUT are getting caught both times, planting for Mound and trying to control that area, playing exactly into EDG's hand. That was the round they needed to put them onto map point.
Forces the timeout now from FUT.
And I mean, guys might just be saying the same stuff that I am, which is, guys, what on earth are you doing? Flip the map. You know, go and take some of their territory. You know it's undefended because you know they're all behind you. A back-to-back tactical timeout.
Back-to-back timeout?
EDG also taking a tac timeout off the back of this?
Not too sure. Could be some confusion from us in terms of actually who initially called it, but
possible.
Sure, we'll get it cleared up.
But it's looking long.
Yeah, it is looking long, isn't it? Yeah. Says EDG timeout.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, well, EDG
time to discuss.
Yeah, I mean, they probably need another strategy here, right? FUT are gonna learn from their mistakes. You can't just run the same push out B, push out A strat to get to 13, probably. So what do you do to be able to get over the line here? They've been winning about 1 in 3, 1 in 4 defense rounds. I mean, 1 in 4 puts them at overtime.
The pressure is settling in because EDG, they do just need the one. As you already mentioned, it can come from any one of these players. They're talented and skilled enough to be able to do so. CNED rips it away, stun connecting though, and a bit of counter spam. Just the rifles in hand. That's nice work. Spike's gonna be dropped down hard, committed and past that point of really no return. FUT though have to make some compromises. EDG opening this door with a paranoia swing. Rifle play, EDG. This guy is a menace. And he is gonna save the day, isn't he? Simon quick on their trail right from behind. Will FUT make the same mistake again as the doors open wide? Gotta flip the side, and this time they do plan towards it.
Yeah, now they're planting towards spawn. But Mr. Fallen doesn't feel confident about getting over there. He has a teleport. They've actually planted for spawn and playing waterfall, and no one's playing spawn.
Deep Sea's close, Haunt as well, smokes in their face, EDG, chances, nobody's primed and ready, and now the ult let loose. This guy might have found that chance, follow the trail, and you might be rewarded just with the map win, but as it fades away, classic in hand, you gotta be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me! Nobody! My God! That's how the map finishes!
Ridiculous fashion. EDG take FUT's pick of Lotus. It could come from anyone, it could come from anywhere. I think the C's that he threw pulled EDG off the high ground.
There's no way.
I think so.
There's no way.
EDG ended up being dragged down to the floor.
Listen, that's a 0.25 in YouTube jobber if I've ever heard one, but that's map one wrapped up. What a series. Electric all the way through. And guess what? Plenty more maps left to come potentially. We'll see you soon.